Reinflation. That is an interesting topic that we're going to be talking about today. Is the Fed done raising interest rates? Is the market really on a rally? Are more expenses in inflation headed our way? We're going to be talking about all that and how to have a safe, secure retirement on today's show.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy.
You can have wonderful documents, but if they don't work for the assets you have and the income stream that you need, it's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money.
Asset protection, tax reduction, holistic planning.
You got to make sure that the team's working together, because if the team's not working together, somebody's going to screw up.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
There's so many people selling product. Don't buy product until you have a plan.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth. Welcome once again. It's the Wealth Training Academy, of course, with wealth coach Ed Storer and a special guest here early on in the show. Another part of the team, investments coach Scott Wright. This is a turnkey firm, of course, as we mentioned, and the team members in their own areas of expertise in investments and taxes and insurance and estate planning. Let's take a moment here to say greetings to Ed and to Scott today.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Hope this is a great, safe place that you're in. And if we surprise you on today's show, please do not swerve and hit the car next to you.
Well, this is going to be an interesting first segment.
I know, right?
You ask a lot of good questions there, Ed. I mean, is the Fed done raising rates? Is the market really in a rally? Where are expenses going to go? Where's inflation going to go? And that's why Scott's here. We're gonna tap into his area of expertise. So Scott, what are we thinking about with the Fed? Are they done, or how long will they go with this? Where are we going?
Right. It's difficult to discern the tea leaves sometimes when you're talking about the Federal Reserve and what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. The market has a hard time going up when the Federal Reserve continues to hike rates. And, right. So here's my take on all that.
Okay.
It's you got to gather the data. It's like putting together pieces of the puzzle. So, my 4-year-old son and I love putting puzzle pieces together. That's his thing. And we just did this great one of Mickey Mouse and friends playing putt-putt. They're knocking the ball into this castle where Chip and Dale live. And Chip and Dale are on the ramparts above, angrily shaking their fists. Well, part of my job here is to put the economic pieces of the puzzle together. So, today we can talk about some of those pieces that I've found and what is that puzzle really saying to us as we put it together?
I heard Peter Schiff say recently in a comment that he mentioned that he thinks it's possible that inflation wasn't transitory, but the decline could be transitory. Do you agree with that, or what do you think about that? Or is inflation cooling?
I wouldn't have agreed before I really looked at the data, but the data is seeming to agree with him. And it's contrary to what a lot of the experts are saying right now about inflation having peaked and so forth. But if you just look at the data, and I'll give you some examples here, copper is up 11% this month, and it's up 30% since September. Sugar is up 8.5% this month, and everybody's gone to the grocery store has probably witnessed that. Iron ore, up 9% this month, up 55% since November. Gas is going back up. It's up 9.25% this month. The big one is lumber, though. Lumber's up 40% this month alone.
Yeah. So we can literally see, and we look at the returns even within the market, and we look at different sectors. The crunch this is happening on the actual valuations of the companies themselves. So, but again, it always starts with the idea of what the consumer is doing, because the consumer actually leads the profits of the companies. It really comes down to that. And well, Scott, as you know, I love to cook. I love doing cooking and baking and hanging out.
You're good at it. This guy can make a mean steak.
Yeah, well, can you see my waistline? So, and I made an announcement the other day. I made
collateral damage.
Yeah, I made the announcement the other day that I was on air that I was going to reduce the waistline. So I've got to start cooking.
Yeah, all of the upstate. Yes.
But what I'm really kind of getting at is we talk about the idea of sugar. We talk about consumer goods. We talk about, this is taking a hit at the grocery store. This is taking a hit on us doing transportation. This is taking a hit on, well, it's going to be warming up here in a few months. That means travel is going to be up. We're going to be doing more things. We're going to be boating again. We're going to be doing all this. So this is going to be affecting our lives as we move forward. So we're probably not going to be doing as much of that. Would you not agree?
I completely agree. I mean, when you're having to spend more money on the basic goods, and especially it affects, lower to the middle income households more, it's like a regressive tax. You're really hurting those folks. And I think that's why the Federal Reserve is trying to stamp it out. I mean, it makes sense what they're trying to do. It's just they're trying to destroy the rest of the economy with it. They're going to bring down everybody, to get to that point. But there's some, more stats we can get into about that. I would say that, they're talking about that financial conditions have really loosened to the point they were just a year ago. We're right back where we were. If you look at the price to earnings multiples of a lot of these companies, the stock market is charged forward. All you have to do is look at a couple stocks. NVIDIA is like 50 times earnings again, which is nosebleed levels. You've got fundamentals are deteriorating because it's hurting these companies too. You got to keep that in mind. Profit margins are getting squeezed hard because the growth rates of these companies are not keeping a pace ahead of their inflation costs. And so, when their profit margins are less, those stock prices have got to, come back down.
Yeah. Well, Mike Watson over at Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, Mike Wilson. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mike Wilson. Yeah, I apologize. Mike Wilson over Morgan Stanley kind of made a comment about that. So share with us what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying that those conditions are right back to where they were. I mean, and this is the number one strategist from last year. He pegged the heights of the market to where it should bounce off the lows, and he's nailed everything. You got to give the man credit. Eventually, he'll be wrong, and he would admit that. But he is telling us all that the Federal Reserve really hasn't been too effective in stamping this out. And just like you said, Dave, this may be a transitory thing. And like Mr. Schiff said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as we talked about lumber earlier, what's going on with the building?
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, the building market, again, leading indicator.
Right. Yeah. That lumber inflation going up. And meanwhile, you've got home builder stocks making 52-week highs. And given where those lumber prices are and where interest rates are still way up there, does that make any sense at all? Right.
Right.
And here's the crazy thing. And we look at our portfolio, and we're going into retirement. We're about 5 to 10 years away from retirement, and we're worried, and we're trying to figure out what's going on, and we're trying to figure out how our taxes are going to be affecting us, and we're trying to figure out how my insurance cost is going to be affecting me, and I'm trying to figure out, do I have the proper estate plan? And now the market's crashing. My 401k turned into a 201k, but it came back. Now it's a quarter more than it was. But last week I looked at it again, and it's now down. And the roller coaster keeps going on, and I forgot that I bought the ticket for this ride, and I don't want to be on it anymore. No. So what do I do? Well, it's as easy as picking up the phone and giving us a call. We do something called our gap analysis. It's a 4-point gap analysis where we look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. We look at the whole thing. We help build a plan for you and your family that can take care of what we call the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And it will eliminate all this roller coaster ride and having to worry about all this, and build a plan that is confident so you will get to and through that retirement stage. So all you have to do is, if you have $500,000 or more in retirement assets, in other words, your 401k, your 403b, IRA, or something of that nature, and you want to figure out, how do I get through all this anxiety? Pick up the phone, give us a call. Scott's team standing by, and just leave your name, number, and please an email address, and we will get back in touch with you.
And to schedule the gap analysis, a call or text will work. Either one, 800-563-7030. If you text hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. Investment coach of the Wealth Training Academy, Scott Wright, joins in on the show. So how is everything, Scott, impacting us, we the people, and our savings and our ability to stay within our spending plan, et cetera, et cetera?
We the people are sinking into the mud a bit. All the rain we've had lately. Well, that's the
Right.
direction we're going is down. The personal savings rate is a big one. That stat's been going since 1959. That savings rate's 3.4%. That's the second lowest reading in a month since the thing started in 1959. That's a huge number.
Well, eggs cost 200% more.
Right.
Oh, it's huge. The
Yeah.
inflation rate there, and it's impacting what we're able to put away each month. And meanwhile, you've got credit card balances shooting up 15% year over year, according to Discover. So that means the consumer's starting to get into trouble. When you've got low savings rates and high credit card balances and those interest rates only going up, consumers getting squeezed, and they're 70% of the economy. I read somewhere that 64% of households in America are now living paycheck to paycheck. That's up from 56%. You think about it, that's like 2/3 of America.
Yeah.
Yes.
And things can be fixed. Things can be adjusted. Just if somebody had a well thought out plan, though. I mean, we have to look at the planning. We have to figure this out. There's a bunch of bad news out there, but there's good news out there too. But you have to make sure that you work with somebody who wants to pull this off and make things happen. The funny thing is we talk about the uber rich and what they're able to do and so forth, but it's affecting the uber rich also. I mean, I've seen more and more lines outside, and I'm not recommending this restaurant. I've seen more and more lines outside McDonald's and Hardee's and Chick-fil-A. And there's always lines around Chick-fil-A though. But but the interesting
lines.
thing is,
Even on Sunday, and they're not even open.
yeah, I know, right? So here's the crazy thing is what I'm trying to point out is that even though we're spending money, the high-end world is starting to come down a little bit, and we're seeing more and more problematic issues with those who were spending big dollars in fancy cars and bigger houses. And we can see this. We can look at it.
Yeah, you can see it in the company's earnings. I mean, where you used to be, going to Olive Garden, now you've got McDonald's, and they killed it on earnings, by the way. That's not a great sign. But you've got people trading down from Target to Walmart, from Walmart to Dollar General, and so on. So you can see that actually show up in these companies' earnings. It's overall a bad sign, I would say.
Again, our gap analysis can help you through this. Stop the FUD, the fear, the uncertainty. And the beautiful part about all this is it's a telephone call away. If you have $500,000 or more put away for retirement, Scott's team's here to help you. They can look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning, put a plan together that's right for you and your family. Don't listen to what somebody else is trying to do, sell you product and everything else like that, because product tends not to be the answer. The plan is the answer, and your plan is the answer for you and your family. So pick up the phone, give us a call. The team's standing by.
800-563-7030 to call or text 800-563-7030. If you text hashtag WTA. Scott, would you agree you can score more points this upcoming Valentine's Day with a dozen eggs instead of a dozen roses? I mean, I would think so, that it would go a lot further. Scott, great to have you on. I don't know if you're hanging around, but that was a very great segment. And Ed, what are we into next?
Well, as we were just talking about, product is not the key to the plan, but the planning is. We're going to talk about the idea of annuities. And there's a lot of questions on them, but we're going to tackle them when we come back.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. We're back with the Wealth Training Academy and Wealth Coach Ed Storer. You know, it's all about the gap analysis Ed talks about and getting you ready for your retirement. And they can be there with you on the journey to and through retirement at the Wealth Training Academy. Ed, it's always fun having Scott on. And, you know, his area of expertise is more in the investments. Of all the areas of expertise, you know, you work with taxes, insurance, estate planning, and of course, that's where Scott's area is. But he's a great guest on the show. One of the team members.
Absolutely. The beautiful part and the interesting part about everything is that here at the Wealth Training Academy, we have specialists in every area, and they have a team underneath them that specialize in each area. So again, it goes back to the idea of whether you're talking about taxes, whether you're talking about investments, whether you're talking about estate planning. There's a team here and another team underneath that team to help support, take you to and through the retirement world that we always talk about, and help you solve for the gaps. You know, those gaps, those things that people bust through your wealth plan and trying to sack your quarterback, called your wealth plan. And the interesting thing about all this is, well, insurance. Insurance really falls into a big part of your retirement. You have to think about Medicare. You have to think about life insurance. You have to think about health insurance. You have to think about all these different insurance programs, as well as a lot of people today have annuities. And so annuities are an insurance product. So I'm letting you all know I'm putting on my my insurance cap here and talking about annuities, which are basically an insurance product. At the same time, annuities could fall into the world of investments. So I also have to put on my investment cap here and be able to bounce back and forth. So whether you love them or you hate them or you're indifferent to them, unpacking the pros and cons of annuities, whether they're right or wrong, is really important. And that's why I keep talking about it's not about the product, it's about the planning, but the annuity could be the tool in your toolbox in order to help build that financial house and make it solid. But again, it's a tool. It's not the end all, the end all. However, being that we have a lot of them, and you know, I always talk about the idea that Social Security is the biggest annuity you'll ever own.
Yeah.
We have to understand how the game is played. You know, if we're going to win the game, we have to understand how the game is played. So I just wanted to tackle and go into this product because a lot of people are writing us and asking us questions about it. And we're seeing a lot of bad ones out on the market. And we've seen a lot of bad ones being sold and they're not doing their job. And so we're just going to tackle it here on the radio today.
Well, and there is a lot of confusion about annuities, and I think a lot of miscommunication in a broad brush sense about annuities because there are different kinds. What are the different kinds, Ed?
Yeah, well, there's really three different kinds. And we have to understand that some annuities have a fee, some annuities do not have a fee, and some annuities are going, oh my God, I can't believe the fee.
Right.
So,
I know which ones they are.
Yeah. So we need to kind of break them down and figure it out first and foremost. And the first one is everybody's kind of heard of this, and we'll call it the bank world, if you would. The bank world is something called a fixed annuity. And a fixed annuity is very similar to a CD, but it is not a CD. Let's not confuse the two. It is an insurance product, and it has a time element on it, just like a CD. So you can get a fixed annuity for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And I've even seen some fixed annuities out there in the 8 and 10 year world. Don't really see a whole lot of those anymore, but I've been around a long time and I've been dealing with these programs for a long time. And again, you know, I've been in the banking world, been in the brokerage world, and now I'm in the independent fiduciary world, doing what's right for people. And so that fixed annuity is you put money in, it grows, it gives you a fixed interest rate depending on where it is. And then after the fixed annuity matures, you get your money back out. So that's a fixed annuity. There's also this thing called a variable annuity. Now, the variable annuity works a lot like a mutual fund because they do have mutual fund type investments inside of them. So think of a variable annuity as this way, where it's a bunch of mutual funds wrapped with an insurance package. So the insurance package has taken it and they said, okay, we're going to put this inside. We're going to take these mutual funds. We're going to put them inside this variable annuity, and the cost or the value of the annuity could go up and the value of the annuity could go down.
So
Now,
what's the insurance part of that?
there you go. There you go. The insurance part says that at a certain point in time, based on the riders you buy, there's a multitude of riders, will insure the value of the contract and will pay you out a set income for life when you annuitize the product. Now, there are mutual fund fees you have to worry about. There's insurance fees you have to worry about. And then there are rider fees that you have to worry about. They're very expensive. In my opinion, a variable annuity does not make sense in today's world with different opportunities that are going on. Now, the variable annuity world is trying to fix all that. They're trying to offer different programs, and there are different types of variable annuities out there. I'm not saying they're all bad, but just understand they're really expensive, hidden fees. There are some annuity programs variable annuity programs out there now that are offering just a fee-based type. But again, be careful. You have to understand all the hidden costs and so forth. The best thing to do is have an evaluation on it. The third kind of annuity now that's out there is kind of the hybrid annuity, if you would. It's a combination of the fixed annuity and the variable annuity. Now, it offers a guarantee just like the fixed annuity. You put money in, it pays you a certain interest rate guaranteed, but it also offers the opportunity for increased growth, just like the variable annuity, in an index of some type, be a S&P index or a bond index or whatever index that particular annuity happens to have. Now, the reason why it's a combination is it goes up, but does not come down. Now, do you get the full rate of return of the market? No. Here's where we've been seeing these fixed annuities being sold incorrectly. People are promising people a rate of return of 6, 7, 8% return, and that's not really true. It's an income rider that you're paying for that will give you the potential of an income off of the valuation of the fixed index annuity. Now, are they great? Sure. Do they make sense owning? Depending. And everything depends. If you hear these words, depending, maybe, it may make sense. All three have a place. All three do not necessarily need to be in your building your house, but they could. And the interesting thing about all this is it really matters based on what you're trying to do. And you need to understand it's a plan. You need to have a plan for your taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. And all that is built around the product you use, the tools you use are based around your plan. And our gap analysis helps you start that plan. It takes you to and through your retirement, helps you figure out your fees, your commissions, your costs, your taxes, your estate plan, everything that you're going to need to know in that world of retirement, and it helps stop the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So if you have these annuities, we can evaluate them. If you think you need these annuities, we can figure it out with you. Just give us a call. Take advantage of this. If you put $500,000 or more away for your retirement account, we'll help you out. Like I said, Scott's team standing by to take your call, get you on our calendar to have a 30-minute phone call with us to see if we can help answer your questions. But it starts picking up the phone.
And that number to call is 800-563-7030 or text hashtag WTA 800-563-7030. So which is the rock star, if there's a rock star annuity?
There isn't a rock star.
There's not a rock star.
It all depends on well, if we're going to talk about music, it all depends on the genre of music you enjoy is the rock star.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, what about? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, okay. I was going to say, but the interesting thing about all this is, we talk about the gap analysis and why all four components need to come together. And we could talk about just the annuity aspect of this alone for just a second, because the annuity aspect alone on the tax side of things is a unique and interesting animal. And let me explain how that works is, if you put money into an annuity, let's say you have money that's outside of a IRA or 401k or any kind of pre-tax or Roth program, the annuity itself grows tax deferred. So the interesting thing is if you have dollars that you're putting away and you're trying to grow them for retirement or something like that, and you don't want to pay taxes on it, you could put them inside an annuity, whether a fixed, a variable, or a fixed index annuity. You can put them inside that and it will grow tax deferred. Now, the interesting thing about that is now once you do that, it acts like a retirement account, like an IRA or so forth, that you really can't touch the money or any of the growth of the dollars until you're age 59 and a half. So all of a sudden it becomes you have to know taxation rules and regulations and what's going on when you're planning with this, because it may not be the best instrument for you to put dollars in because of taxation issues. The other situation is that it can help reduce those taxes going forward. Let's say you have phantom taxes and you're in a higher tax bracket and you have all these dividends and so forth that are going on. You really don't need those. You can reposition that into an annuity and reduce your overall taxation because you want those monies for down the road anyhow. So there's really neat opportunities, but just remember the taxation on the annuity is it's going to be taxable at your full tax bracket. The other very interesting thing with inside the annuity is people will say, well, it lacks liquidity. I can't get my money out. Yeah, you can. There's opportunities, unlike a CD, where you can take out 10% of the annuity contract. What I'm really trying to say is you really need to make sure that you're working with somebody who's not just selling annuities, okay? Because if somebody's just selling annuities and they're just an insurance agent and all they have is that one tool, then the answer is the annuity. The answer isn't always the annuity, but I just wanted to talk about this because it's such a big thing out there that everybody has now or they're seeing now, and we're seeing a lot of it. You really need to sit down and make sure this makes sense. So give us a call. If you have these programs, we'll do an evaluation on them. We'll go through them and we'll look at them. We have a whole insurance team here, and we'll evaluate everything. Look, we work for you. We don't work for the companies. So give us a call. Let's figure this out. If you have $500,000 or more and you're really looking for the plan, look, if it's about the plan, it's not about the product. You put the product into the plan. Just like you don't design a house around your toolbox, you buy the tools to build the house. So let's go build your financial house. Give us a call.
All right, and the number to call is 800-563-7030 or text hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. What's up after the break, Ed?
Man, losing a spouse is terrible, terrible. And, well, to be quite honest, we can plan all day about it, but until it happens, we really never have to face it. And we've been working with a lot of folks who have lost their spouse lately, so I want to talk about things that you need to know about and things that you need to take into consideration if you lose your loved one when we come back.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy, 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, and the conversation continues. Consumer Advocate Dave Perkins with our weekly get-together with wealth coach Ed Storr. This great firm, a turnkey firm, and a great fiduciary team. We talked to one of the coaches, the investment coach earlier on the show today, Scott Wright, but they all get together to get behind your retirement. And at all times throughout your retirement, and even the unfortunate times. I mean, this is not the most pleasant of topics to talk about, Ed, but it needs to be talked about. And I know it's part of the planning process, and that is what happens in the event of the death of a spouse. So we're going to go through this and what you should consider during this time.
Yeah, definitely. The loss of a spouse, again, like I said, you can never really plan for it. Yes, on paper, you can plan for it. And the idea that first and foremost, that depending on where you are in your stage in life, maybe your spouse was your caregiver, so how do you plan for that? How do you take all those things need to be taken into consideration? But I really kind of want to talk also about the emotional side of things on financial planning when we lose a spouse and things that we need to take into consideration, because everybody grieves differently. And so I don't have any kind of expertise in the psychological aspect of losing a spouse, but I have been here doing this 32 years. And let me tell you, I've seen the emotional strain and the wherefore, if you would, of everything that could happen when you lose a spouse. And one of the, believe it or not, I hate to keep bringing this up, but one of the biggest things that you're going to be affected by when your loved one goes meets our Lord is that the impact of taxation. Because all of a sudden you were filing married and now your spouse passes away, and that usually pushes you into a higher tax bracket. And I know it could potentially, but just been doing this a long time, been doing a lot of tax planning through all this, because that's the forte of pay less in taxes, reduce your overall hidden fees and commissions, and you don't have to take so much risk with your money in order to get your better rate of returns. But when you lose your spouse, you now go from filing as joint married to single, and the single tax brackets are higher than the married filing. And now also you have to look at the idea that, well, to be quite honest, you have 1 year after the death of your spouse to file as a widow. And a lot of folks, and we're seeing it being that tax season's coming up, a lot of folks, for some reason, I don't know why, are missing that opportunity. We've gone back and there had been, I don't know how many that we did last year that we ended up fixing for folks. They unfortunately were just kind of doing it on their own. And I guess they missed the question or something. I don't know what it is, but we've had to fix it and go back and go, hey, you know something, you still have the ability to file as a widow. And so that's an important thing, is making sure your taxes really are understood and what's going to happen. Heaven forbid your spouse passes. You need to plan for that. And that needs to be taken into consideration. And that, again, goes through our gap analysis, because we focus on taxes. We focus on not just returns of your portfolio. If a person bought, and I'm not recommending this stock. If a person bought Apple stock, it doesn't matter what the Apple stock was that you bought it over here or what you bought it over there. It's still Apple stock. But my taxation on the Apple stock is an entirely different thing, because that then changes my real rate of return on that position. And that's why, first and foremost, when it comes to your loved one, you need to really understand and plan taxation.
Looking at when you lose your spouse and you run down the possible tax implications, what about your income implications?
Income implications are a major concern, because we all know that we're going to be receiving Social Security. And depending on whose Social Security was bigger, what usually happens is the surviving spouse gets that Social Security. And then it comes down to the idea of, all right, we've been planning for income on 2 Social Security checks. Well, now you're down to 1. Yes, they'll tell you, well, the expenses are going down and you won't be traveling as much, and the cost of your traveling and the eating and everything won't be as much. Are you kidding me? Scott just talked about the idea of inflation and how much that keeps going up. Inflation hasn't tapered back. It's actually gone up higher and higher. I mean, just look at a postage stamp of when you were younger to where the postage stamp is today. You're still going to be sending mail whether you're widowed or not. There's things that are going to happen. So you have to make sure your income is correct. That's why planning for Social Security, we do these Social Security programs, where we call them Savvy Social Security, where we show you how to maximize income. We show you how to get bigger and better opportunities planning through Social Security. And a lot of them are different for everybody because everybody's a different age. Everybody has different plans. Everybody has different taxes. Everybody has different investments. So how you get the income is not just Social Security, but then it falls back into the idea that, well, have you set up pensions? Have you created, and a lot of people we talked about earlier, we talked about annuity income. How's that annuity income prepared? What's going on? And then I go back to the idea of withdrawals from our investment accounts. How do we maximize opportunity and deductions, withdrawals from the tax deferred accounts? How do we do that? How do we maximize those opportunities? Because there's different ways that we have to look at that. And depending on your age and how you received the dollars that you inherited from who and so forth really matter. That's why it's so important. First and foremost, if something happens, that you have a plan. You need to understand taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning when you go into retirement. Before you hit retirement, you need to know that. But if something happens, your whole world has just changed. Your taxes have changed. Your investment strategy has changed. Your estate planning has changed. Your insurance has changed more so than ever before. And again, the gap analysis can plan and help for this. We have a system that can track all this. Heaven forbid, we can look at it. We go, if your spouse passes, this is what's going to happen. This is what needs to be done. The old written plan is obsolete. In today's world, it needs to be able to be looked at in every angle, in every aspect. Things are moving very fast, and we want to make sure we're tracking it. So our gap analysis can do that. And again, if you put $500,000 or more away for retirement, and you're 5 to 10 years out from retirement, and you're trying to put it all together, our gap analysis can help you. But it requires you to pick up the phone and make an appointment with us, and let's have a 30-minute telephone call. So, or you hop on our website and go, hey, I want to have a 30-minute telephone call with you. Give us a call.
And the website, by the way, is wealthtrainingacademy.com, and we'll talk more about everything you can do there coming up, because you can submit a question for Ed to answer on the air as well. Any tab you click on brings up the box for you to do all of that. And schedule the gap analysis. 800-563-7030 is the number to call or text. If you text, just text hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. I think of your team getting with a couple at first and planning certainly for their long, hopefully, time together in retirement, but also a fallback plan when this happens.
Yes. The what is it? Mike Tyson said you can plan for everything until you get punched in the face. And losing the spouse, in my opinion, is that punch in the face, right? And the old way of planning, the old written plan, the old, here it is, and somebody hands you a 2.5-inch binder and it's done. And the second, I'm telling you, in today's world, the second you hit print, that's over. And they're charging tremendous amount of money for these just plans, no implementation, no taxation. There's nothing there, and they don't have a team behind them doing everything that can implement what needs to be happening. So what was it? There's this old joke in the engineering world that the idea of building a blueprint is the greatest thing in the world until you get out into the field, and then there's execution, and now you have to go back and change the blueprint based on the execution out in the field. For those who are engineers, know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. We can have a plan until the idea of the execution happens. And that's why the written plan is a great little guide, but not in today's world, because inflation is happening. Interest rates are happening. Taxations. We just had something called the Secure Act 2.0 that changed the entire retirement landscape and taxation landscape for small business owners, people who have hobby businesses, or your own taxation and retirement and putting money away for yourself. That whole world has changed. But my greatest thing that we need to really focus in on and talk about is seek advice. Seek advice. And if something has happened to your loved one, take time to grieve. Do not step in and make tons of financial changes immediately. I share this with our clients because, well, our clients are already designed because of our system to handle this, but no changes should be done immediately. And don't let anybody force you into anything. You need to take time to make sure you understand what's going on, and then make sure that the family surrounds you and the family comes together. And if you're left all by yourself, have the family come together and help you make those financial decisions. Run away from anyone who says, I don't want to sit down with your family at all, because the family should be brought in for these discussions. We have family discussions all the time. As a matter of fact, we encourage that we have a family meeting and talk about estate planning, what's going on and everything. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because we have Zoom and video conferencing and everything else like that. So we bring the families together because it's very important that everybody understands what's happening if you lose your spouse. So give us a call, take advantage of our gap analysis, taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. We're here to help you. So all you have to do is pick up the phone.
And to schedule, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030, or text hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. What's coming up, Ed, to close it out?
Well, we've got questions from our website, and we got questions basically from some of our Social Security classes that I'm going to be answering when we come right back.
You drive through this to get to this, and you really want to be here. And there's someone who can get you to your destination, retirement where you want to be, instead of here or here. And that someone is Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, and moving into Q&A on the show, it's the way Wealth Coach Ed Storr closes it out, answering listener questions, and they come from all over, actually. I think we've got a couple that he got at the Social Security, one of the most recent Social Security workshops that they held. We'll keep you up on the next ones coming up, but also from podcast listeners and radio listeners in the upstate, and you can submit your question if you go to wealthtrainingacademy.com. That's the website. Any tab you click on brings up the box where you could submit your question or schedule the gap analysis. We also encourage you to navigate your way through the site. You'll find the podcast too. You can scroll back over past shows and listen to our past shows now in podcast form. And we're going to open up with one from Pickens. Here's what they're saying. A coworker recently used the phrase mega backdoor Roth IRA, and I pretended to understand that, but in reality, I was completely confused. I've heard you talk about Roth conversions on the show, but a mega backdoor Roth IRA, is that even a real thing?
Well, it's just like the mega submarine sandwich. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it sounds big, like a superhero.
It is a big deal, and it's out there. And yes, it is legal, and yes, it is ethical, and yes, it is moral. But here's the interesting thing about the mega backdoor Roth, in that it's not for everybody, and not everybody can achieve it, even though everybody may want it. And really, the mega backdoor Roth idea is after you've exhausted all of the other opportunities to grow your money via tax deferred and or tax free, if you have additional dollars left over, and listen to these words, if your employer allows it and the plan itself allows it, then you can do what's called a mega backdoor Roth, where you can put in over contributions to a retirement account that will actually grow tax-free in a Roth IRA. Now, so for small business owners who have employees, we actually can help rewrite your plan document in order to allow this. Please understand, your employer is not going to make any kind of contributions or matching to this in any way, but it allows you to put mega money into a Roth IRA that you could have never done in a traditional contribution. So if you have this idea, or you thought, or you really want to know more about it, do you have the opportunity to even do it? This is really where you have to make sure you do not mess up. I mean, this is a tax and a conversation with the proper human resource person. And so I would highly suggest giving us a call if you've ever thought about the Mega Backdoor Roth, or you've heard about the Mega Backdoor Roth, or you're thinking about doing the Mega Backdoor Roth. Give us a call, because I want to make sure my tax specialist and the investment specialists are sitting down with you, and they're making a call with you to your human resource manager and or the business owner. If the business owner has ever thought about, how do I put more money away for myself and my team and allow them to do this and yada, yada, and it doesn't cost me or affect me, but I want to really encourage and benefit my employees, this is the opportunity. So give us a call, because we can help fix your documents for this. Again, I have a whole team behind me that does this, and take an opportunity that could substantially improve your life. There is a thing called Mega Backdoor. You can Google it, but allow me to share, there's more misinformation on the Mega Backdoor Roth on the internet than there is proper information. And we've seen this happen a couple of times last year, and the tax situation that they screwed up because they just got the information off of a so-called tax website. It put them into a big hurt. And again, we have enrolled agents who are specialists in the taxation situation. We have CPAs, we have tax attorneys that we work with on all this. So they're all here. They're all in the team. Again, make sure you're doing this right, but give us a call.
And you can call. Thanks for the question. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. From a listener in Greer. I'm 50. I make $65,000 a year, and my company does not offer a 401k plan, but I recently opened a Roth IRA with a contribution of 10% of my paycheck. Is this a good investment for me? And also, how much can I expect to make in 10 years when I'm planning to retire? Retire a little early.
Well, first off, congratulations. That is amazing that you're actually taking advantage of this. And yes, I think it is a great idea that you did that. There's nothing wrong with always putting money away for yourself. You know, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a client just the other day, and we were talking about rate of return. We were talking about money. And he's like, Ed, I'm never going to be able to spend all this money that we're making over here. And you know, he's already set up this, that, and the other stuff for his kids. And he's just tickled kind of to death that he's had this opportunity. He goes, but what else can I do? And I said, the interesting thing about wealth is that you can actually help more people. You can impact so many different people. You can just look around your community and make more contributions to charities and help other people, help the kids, help the grandkids. So wealth isn't money's not bad. It's just bad people utilizing wealth, or money. So in this case, you never go wrong putting money away. You never go wrong by increasing your returns. You never go wrong by saving taxes. You never go wrong by cutting your fees and commissions. So congratulations to this person that's putting money away.
From Greenville, my mother-in-law is 61, and she has savings, but nothing invested in the way of employer plans or IRAs or anything like that. Now, the initial plan has been to live within her means and rely on Social Security. Could she invest in bonds or maybe an index fund, or is there a structured plan that you would recommend?
So, very interesting question. And this is coming from a person whose mother-in-law is 61 and they're worried about them. So they must be obviously a younger person if it's their mother-in-law. Mm-hmm. And maybe the mother-in-law is not savvy in investing or something. This is just a highly unusual question. I love it. It makes me kind of think, because I would want to sit down with the 61-year-old and go, hey, what are you doing?
Let's get something together.
See, again, this is a perfect. See, I'm willing to bet that the mother-in-law, their spouse passed, And now the family's rallying around them in order to help figure things out.
Could be.
This is beautiful.
And she's young too, the mother-in-law.
And she's young too.
She's 61. That better be young.
So what is young? I mean,
well, I know, but young? I am that. So,
it's funny when we were in our 20s. My God, that guy who's 45, he's old.
I know, he's old.
When I got to 45, my goodness, that person is 60s old. Now that I'm there, dadgum, that 90-year-old's old.
No, but she's a spring chicken. You know what makes, I'll say this real quick. The day somebody says that I am such and such years young, then I'll know I'm old.
So, the interesting thing is you want to keep getting old.
Right.
You want to keep getting old.
I like that.
So, one of our assistants here in the office just had a birthday, and she's going, wow, I'm old now. I go, you kidding me? Keep getting older. That's the trick. Anyway, back to the question. I apologize. This is a perfect example of somebody who should come in and have a conversation, because I don't know where things are at. I don't know the taxation of your mother-in-law. I don't know the estate planning that's been set up for your mother-in-law. I don't know the investment style for your mother-in-law. And maybe you're the one who's doing this for your mother-in-law. But here's the interesting thing. And we talked about ages and so forth. The thought process of somebody who's in their 30s and 40s is a different thought process than somebody who's in their 60s. And the view of money is looked at differently also. And again, I'm not saying the youth is not doing it right, but they have a higher risk tolerance and they don't have other opportunities that us in our later years do. There's so many different things that we have to think about once we hit into retirement: taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning. And that all has to be looked at and built a plan versus just the idea of, should I invest in bonds? Should I invest in an index fund? Please pick up the phone and give us a call, because taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning has changed this person's world, even in the idea that they stepped into the world of being 61. It's changed tremendously. The Secure Act's changed everything tremendously. We just talked about the market and what's going on, and the nonsense of inflation affects your retirement plan and those who are older differently than those who are younger. So take advantage of the gap analysis. The team's standing by. $500,000 or more put away for retirement. We'll do it. We'll do our gap analysis for free. So give us a call.
And the number is 800-563-7030. You can text #WTA, 800-563-7030. At the website, wealthtrainingacademy.com, click resources and radio show. You can hear past shows in podcast form. Add another great conversation and show.
We are the Wealth Training Academy. We are here to help you shield, protect, grow your business and your wealth. Until next week.
The Wealth Training Academy, LLC is a marketing and training facility designed to help business owners as well as pre- and post-retirees regain control of their business and personal wealth. Wealth Training Academy also rents the facility out to other organizations and the utilization of its materials. Wealth Training Academy's tax division utilizes the Tax Advisory Group, LLC, which is an independent tax reduction planning and preparation firm. Wealth Training Academy's investment division utilizes Idle Hill Advisors, LLC, which is an SEC-registered investment advisor firm. Certain appropriately licensed individuals are registered to offer investments through Idle Hill Advisors, LLC. They are not affiliated with any entities listed herein. They also do not offer tax, legal, or insurance advice. Past performance is no indication of future results. All investment carries an inherent risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Wealth Training Academy's insurance division utilizes Insurance Made Easy, LLC, which is an independent insurance firm. Certain individuals are licensed to offer insurance through Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Wealth Training Academy's estate planning division utilizes Essential Estate Planning. With our attorney groups, they can help assist with various legal matters. Wealth Training Academy's business division utilizes Maximizing Value, LLC, which is an independent coaching and consulting firm. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Wealth Training Academy or any of its divisions. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific tax, investment, insurance, or legal advice or recommendation for any business or individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.